Mr. AV Tech guy.
Oh, gosh. Come on.
What's up, everybody? We are so back. We're back on Word of Mouth. We're back with the one and only Jake Birnbaum.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for having me.
Jake, I'm not going to lie. You probably more than anybody else have like a name that's like, it's so fun to call you your last name.
I agree. People talk about that like, oh, I'm going to call you like just your last name. And I love it. Like, I think I know a lot of people who get called their last name but don't really want to get called their last name.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like my last name being Peacock, I definitely, especially in high school, I was called Peacock a ton, and I totally anticipated that to be the case whenever I went to college and for the rest of my life. But I don't know. I feel like even to this day, people in Gardendale are the only people that I literally will see. There's like this one specific restaurant we've talked about on the podcast a lot called Nikki's West. And Nikki's West is like this meet and three in downtown Birmingham where like a bunch of people from my hometown go to eat lunch at. And I love Nikki's West, so I'll go every now and then. Love is a weird word. I don't love, it's an awesome experience. Anyways.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I enjoy going there. And anyways, I'll literally will see people from my hometown there, and it will catch me off guard whenever someone's like, Peacock! And because like I heard that so much whenever I was in high school, but now I just like no one ever calls me that. If anyone calls me anything besides Steven, it's just Steve. And being called Peacock, I'm like, it like transports me, especially whenever I hear somebody's voice that I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny. Anyways, Birnbaum.
Who is Birnbaum?
Who is Birnbaum? Wow. That's a good question. That's a deep question. Hold on. Before I answer that, I want to go to something over here. Do you say you're at like your local meet and three kind of place? Do you enjoy seeing that friend from high school, or are you like, gosh, I don't like Gardendale as much as I used to?
I would say 89 to 91% of the time, I'm like, I'd rather be talking to anyone else on planet Earth. But for those 9%, I'm like, okay. Like, there's like a few people too that surprise me that I'm excited to see them. A lot of people, I'm like, I expect to not be stoked, and then I see them, and I'm just like, ugh. And maybe I'm a jerk, and I should lighten up, and I should just like enjoy people. But I just like genuinely wish I wasn't talking to 90% of them. But there are a few like there's this girl named Hannah Ray that I like barely knew. We like did this internship together summer after my freshman year. She was like a year or two below me in high school. But anyway, she's a barista, and she works with Jacob now. And I like have really enjoyed becoming friends with Hannah in adult life. So I don't know. That's like a random Gardendale connection that I've actually enjoyed. But besides that, I don't know. What do y'all think? Are y'all like stoked to see people from high school?
You want it?
I mean, I never see people from high school. I mean, so for example, I went home maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and we were eating lunch after church one day and saw like one of my best friends from high school's little brother. And it was like super awesome to see him. But then I was like, I don't know what to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, you were like 12. So like I wasn't really friends with you then. And now you're like grown up and going into the military. And that's cool. But what do I talk to you about?
Yep. That's
Not
kind
a
of
big military guy?
I mean, I am a huge military guy, but
I didn't know that about you.
What does it mean to be a military guy?
I think of those little green like toys.
I mean, like
I guess that shows you what I like.
Yeah, I mean, respect our troops, you know.
Come on,
but
dude,
I don't really.
Back the green.
Yeah, I don't
What
really,
is that? It knows back the blue is cops. What is back the military?
I mean,
the troops.
Yeah, back our troops. I don't know.
Yeah.
My big from PICAP is in the Air Force training to be a fighter pilot. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's
and
the coolest thing you can do, probably.
Yeah, I still talk to him sometimes, but that's like my only direct relation to anyone in the military, really.
There you go. I don't really have any relation to anyone in the military.
You gotta have him on the podcast one day just for kicks and gigs.
Yeah, I'd love to.
For giggles. I heard someone say that the other day.
Jake, when you see people from high school?
Ooh, yeah. I'm not as far removed from high school as you guys. No, it's not a diss, but
We're old.
No, you're not old. But the people that go to my high school, I still talk to on a pretty regular basis. But I feel like it's also not separated enough to where if you see someone that you really wanted to separate from in high school, they kind of linger and you do still know what's going on. That it's like, man, I hate that.
Yeah.
And I've tried to get in the habit of like unfollowing some people from high school to avoid like still knowing what's going on.
Yeah, anyone I wouldn't want to see, I don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't get that joy, but it's good. It's good that I live in Alabama now because a lot of my people are here now. But a lot of my friends from back home are at Georgia and Georgia College and stuff, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
I have a short little anecdote about this whole thing. Short little story here because this happened yesterday. And I thought it was so funny.
Love that.
But we were at Waffle House, so I turned in my last paper of all of grad school yesterday, and so now I'm like,
Congratulations.
well, I have a Hebrew final. That's my last class, but I can make a 0 on the Hebrew final and still pass with a 63. So I'm not like I'm kind of done with grad school, which is insane.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I went to go celebrate yesterday with Shane and Sam, my father and my brother at Waffle House, obviously, as you do.
Yep.
And anyway, so I go to Waffle House with them to celebrate, and this guy, my third grade teacher's husband. I know my third grade teacher was Patricia Brooks. I have no idea what this guy's name is. I just know his last name is Brooks.
Yep.
Anyways, he walks up to my dad at the Waffle House table, and it was definitely like a dad sitting with his sons, like whatever. My dad puts his arm around Mr. Brooks and looks at us and goes, "Man, if I had this guy's money, I'd throw mine away."
Oh, man.
That was like the most like Southern dad joke I've heard in a long time. And there's like it, and I also heard the other day, like I was more lost than a ball in tall grass.
Yep.
It's just like
Your dad,
stupid isms.
like,
I love it.
I spend
Stupid isms.
I spend more time with your dad almost than my wife probably. And he still like comes out of nowhere with these isms. Like every day.
Like how do you?
I was like, I've spent almost every day with you for a year and a half, and I've never heard you say that. Where did that come from? How did you get that?
Dude, I love it. There's just a deep dark hole of.
I mean, there's so much life that they lived before they knew who you were, though.
Yes,
crazy.
but
They've just been
he comes
obtaining
out with
these
so many
isms.
isms, and somehow
Yeah, you'd think he would stick.
the chest is still full of more isms I haven't heard yet.
No, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
They're like
wild.
one day we're gonna be with our kids, and Slay will not have been used for
Stop.
ages.
Yeah.
And your wife's gonna come out of the room or something like that with a dress on. You're gonna be like, "Oh, Slay Queen," and your son's gonna be like, "What did
is
you
that?"
just say? Like, what does that mean?"
Yeah.
It's gonna be that's their version of
I
Slay.
can't.
That's kind
I
of
can't
sad,
wait
actually.
to say slay when I'm 65.
That's a good
Oh my
feeling. I have
gosh,
a.
man.
I'm really excited to bring it out to Sanford's campus, but
Okay.
or just the local Birmingham area. I have a shirt that my mom got me last year for Christmas. It just says "sleigh" in it, and it's like a Christmas sleigh, and I love it.
Yeah.
You
Super
have
soft.
to bring the merry season in.
That's what
Which,
I'm saying.
speaking of, this is a continuation of our Welcome to Winter Wonderland series.
It is.
Really hope that you're having a nice little cozy day.
I think this is the first one in December, right? I think.
Yeah. No. Well, this is
No.
this is Black Friday's episode.
Yes.
Wow. Happy Black Friday. Hope everybody's in a nice little food coma if you're listening to this day of, and if you're listening to this later on, dude, just think back to how amazing that food was. I
goodness.
literally since last week. I was talking about favorite episode. Since last week's episode, talking about favorite foods, holiday foods, so many people have wildly disagreed with the sweet potato casserole take being
Really?
number one. So many people are like stuffing for sure. And I'm appalled every single time.
I don't know.
Are you a stuffing over sweet? Are you one of these people, Jake?
I am not one of these people. I didn't like stuffing honestly until like later into my Thanksgiving eating journey.
Sure,
Me too.
same.
That's me too.
But with sweet potatoes, it's like two ways at the Birnbaum family Thanksgiving. There's the,
Uh-huh.
like for the like kid side of the table, the like sweet potatoes with the like
Marshmallows.
Yeah.
But the second one was like sweet potatoes with this like brown sugary
Yes.
With
nutty
nuts.
yes.
Yep.
And the marshmallows I could honestly go without. The older I get, the less I like marshmallows.
Same. Yeah.
Period. But
That was what we said. We said sweet potato casserole with brown sugar and I think
like
it's pecans or whatever.
Yeah.
That is our number one.
unbelievably good.
I honestly think it might be more alarming. This morning, I'm totally going to call her out. This girl named Mary Lauren, that's in the Birmingham world, she outspokenly was pro marshmallow over brown sugar and nuts. And I'm like, that's
She's
crazy.
a child.
No.
The only other person all week that has been that way is Mitch McEver, who has a deathly death allergy to nuts.
Yeah,
which I'm
that's
like,
fine.
I totally get
That's
that.
fine.
I hate that Maddie can't eat the brown sugar and nuts one because she's married to him,
Yeah.
which I'm like, man, that might be a deal breaker for
I
me.
mean,
I'm not
I
gonna
would
lie.
just like, okay, not kiss for a couple days. I don't
like
Us
perfect in every
whatever
way.
you need to do.
I'll sleep on the couch tonight.
Yeah, I'll eat outside. I want my sweet
I was
potatoes.
just drinking my water and I went to put my mic in front of my mouth and I slammed the glass
Yeah,
into my
that'll
teeth.
do.
That hurt. Oh, yeah, I know.
It's not a good feeling.
Well, we've really enjoyed our conversations about holiday foods and the holiday season and all those things. So I've really enjoyed it. This whole like little new vibe of cozy fall, winter time, seasonal stuff. And we wanted to come outside today for that reason. So if you're not watching, you can get a little gander of my backyard and all the different fall colors behind me.
So many colors.
Love
it.
Birnbaum. Okay, so just in general, who you are? You're 20 years old.
19.
You're 19
I
years
think
old. Let's go.
I actually was thinking about it. I might be the youngest guest on one.
We had
Yeah.
Chloe, my
Chloe.
little sister, on.
Yeah,
She's 17.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then I'm
Outside of
You're not
her,
gonna beat that.
I'm not gonna beat that, but I am 19.
yeah.
What do you
Outside of her, I think you are the youngest.
Chloe's like two best friends really want to be on. I'm curious. Maybe we shouldn't discuss this because they might listen.
Yeah.
But it's like, do we want to have 3 17-year-old girls on our podcast?
Hey, you're
That sounds
reaching a different
super
audience.
Weird.
You're reaching a different audience.
Yeah, we
Even though
gotta.
I don't think
I definitely think it'd be fun, but I don't know.
I don't think there's that many 17-year-old girls who are enjoying just
Yeah.
a casual podcast.
I think don't
Yeah.
think that way about it. And then yes, we do want to have more.
Yeah. But okay, so 19-year-old, you're
Jake
student
Birnbaum.
at Sanford, and then just in
Student at
general,
Sanford.
ever since I got the chance to meet you since you've been in Birmingham, I have been. You're kind of like a magnetizing person. Whenever
that word.
you're in a room, you make it better. So I've just really enjoyed getting to know you. But also, like, why did you want to be on the podcast? Why are you here?
First to hit on the like who Jake Birnbaum is. Jake Birnbaum likes to get into different things. I feel like each season of my life gets defined by like random hobbies and random like niche interests. But overall, I love any like creative field and talking to people and speaking. And I think that's what comes with the like enjoying being around people, that I love learning from people and love hearing what they have to say, and experiencing new things with others, I think is what makes life so sweet.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sometimes. And to be on the podcast, one, I just like love you guys a lot. Like y'all are
Aw.
good dudes, and I love like just a conversation to sit down and chill. And then I also just like love random conversation coming up. Like I always think that's like a highlight, is like a topic coming up that you haven't thought about for a long time that kind of makes you think about something that you loved for a long time, or makes you realize more of like who you are today. Like I haven't thought about sweet potatoes with nuts, and now I'm thinking about my grandmother. And it's
Wow.
like,
Come on.
there you go.
Yeah.
Sweetness.
And I never think of my grandmother, so this is awesome.
Sorry, Bach.
yeah.
Sorry, Bach.
Horrible. But yeah, no. So
That's kind of funny. How often do you think of your grandmother? I'm going maybe once a week, maybe more than that.
I think it depends on like the season. Like I said, like I feel like I associate my grandma with different things. Like it's like,
Yeah.
it's like now that I'm thinking about Thanksgiving and I'm coming home, I've probably thought about like having a conversation with my grandmother about life, like since like being at school. Like I just haven't caught up with her. But I think with it being like a very like technology driven world to catch up. Like me and my grandma aren't just like calling.
Yeah.
And so it's like if something like major isn't going on, I feel like I don't think about my grandma, but I feel like I think about telling all of my family and friends and seeing how they would react before something happens.
That's a great point right there too. Like, because our grandparents obviously were very late to the tech game. I don't really communicate very much with my grandparents via phone because they're just not very good at it. But when we're grandparents, how often do we think we are going to are we going to text our grandkids? Like, is that going to be a thing?
I hope so.
Like, or I don't know. Do we think that texting will be completely obsolete at that point? I don't know.
I would say I don't think it'll be like totally out of the picture. I think there will be like an advanced form of communication. Like I think there'll be a chance that like there'll be like a specific niche of kids that'll be like, oh, I'm gonna have to go on this old thing to text my grandpa and not like whatever the new like.
My grandpa only types when he messages me. He doesn't send me video. Face videos.
How do you all feel?
I totally think that if it is a VR goggle, some sort of type of VR goggle, I totally understand now why my grandparents were like slow to get on a smartphone and use it the way the kids were, because like VR, like I just would not. I feel like VR goggles are so wildly cringe. I don't think I could ever get like VR goggles and communicate via how on the new Apple thing they have like the fake head. They like take different parts of your face and like emulate your emotions when you're on FaceTime with someone.
Yeah.
Like I just won't do that. That just seems so weird to me.
Okay, on the won't do that, I think in terms of the technology, I think it's more of a lack of desire to want to learn a new thing than being like sharp enough to learn that new thing.
Sure.
It's like I feel like my grandparents or like how we're going to be when we're adults, it's more a matter of like, do we want to go out of our way to do it? Like, I hope that I like have my mind sharp enough to be able to like learn a new thing, which I think is possible, but it's like, is it worth learning to be proficient on a new technology in order to just like
chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Are y'all's grandparents chatters? Like, is it like when you call them, it has to be like you block out like an hour, or is it like get to the point 5 minutes out of there?
Very much so. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I've ever called one of my grandmothers. My other grandmother, I do call every now and then. And yeah, it's very like to the point. Like, I don't know. She also has, my grandmother on one side has like 18 grandkids, is like going on mission trips every other week all over the world. So like I never can catch up with her. And she doesn't have enough time or capacity to really like sit and chat forever. My other grandmother lives like maybe the most simple life ever. So whenever I call her to like catch up, she's just like, well, went to the catfish house on Thursday with my friends and Sunday school, and she does like went on a walk this week. Like she does the same thing all the time. And like literally one time I called her I watched her. I don't remember exactly what it was. I was like with her when she was having dinner. It was on a very normal day though. And she had two slices of a tomato with salt on it for her dinner.
Yeah.
2 slices of a tomato.
That is Bach.
I was like, Bach, is that all you're going to eat? She was just like, ooh, that was so rich. Like, what? That is so
That's
random.
how my granny, we joke that she just like eats the dew off the morning leaves for breakfast.
She just licks the leaves.
She's just like, well, I had a cup of water for lunch, and I just wasn't too hungry after that. And she also like works 18-hour days for no reason. Like she's retired, but she just gets up at 5 or 4 a.m. and then just goes all day.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever really described a food as like rich unless it's like out of this like a really huge Italian pasta or like a brownie. Like I don't just really rich vegetables.
Flavor in that tomato.
Yeah.
She doesn't really. She watches the news a good bit, but she listens to the radio. She listens to like essentially what the equivalent of Fox News, but just on the radio. I don't know what it's called, like Hannity or something like that. And but she just like just listens, eats tomatoes. She sews a lot. I don't know, that kind of vibe.
Have you ever sewed?
I took home ec like twice, and I learned how to sew in both of them, and I forgot. But yeah, I don't know if in my real life, I don't know if I've ever sewed. I'm trying to remember what I made. I made something whenever I was in home ec. It was like a blanket or something like that. I don't remember. Maybe a pillow. It was a pillow. That's what it was.
I'm more of a reap kind of guy.
Wow. Come on. So biblical.
Birnbaum,
I love that.
the one thing I wanted to talk to you about.
There's nothing else. No,
nothing
I'm just
else.
kidding.
Steven told me that you are pro social media.
To some extent, yes.
Tell me about that.
Speaking of, communicating with your grandparents.
Yeah. What a good segue. No, but I mean, that's so. For Steve and I had a good conversation about this the other day at a spontaneous hang at Dave's Hot Chicken, not
Come
sponsored.
This is not sponsored by Dave's Hot Chicken.
It could be.
That place was kind of fire, though.
Come on.
Like, what is it?
You got to get involved.
What is the Chick-fil-A thing that's like real customers paid real money or whatever? Like we're like real customers not paid any money.
Yeah.
Dave's is good.
Yeah. Well, take a $25 gift card to Dave's in exchange for free advertising.
Get a $25 gift card and get one chicken finger. The place was freaking expensive.
It was way, way too expensive. But okay, the social media take.
Yeah.
What I was telling Steven is we live in a generation, regardless of if we want to or not, that social media is going to be prominent. And I think in a lot of Christian settings and a lot of different things, it's okay, just quit social media. Just don't download it, just anything like that. And I think that is impossible to break out of. So the reason that I'm pro social media is I'm pro people being educated on social media so that they can use social media as a form of connection and not something that's harmful in their identity. So I think when it comes, obviously I don't think there should be a 12-year-old kid at the dinner table on an iPad all day, but I think it's more of I think if you're at an age where you're old enough to understand your identity and you're old enough to understand that life goes way past social media, then I think it can be used as a form of connection.
Yeah.
And then I also think, I was talking to Steven about it, that there's people that you can reach with social media, especially in sharing the gospel, that you could not reach in any other way. So I think learning, I really believe in media literacy, because people really enjoy reading and writing. They think about that, but it's as crazy as this sounds, technology and consuming media is getting just as common as regular reading and writing.
Yeah.
So I think just learning how to navigate that and learning how to reach people in a way of being able to share the gospel with them and teach them healthy habits, because there is a lot of joy and education that I think can come from media.
Yeah.
It's a good take.
I was at June on Monday afternoon, and these 3 kids from Highlands College, which Highlands College is a Christian college that's run by a big old mega church in Birmingham, and they came up and they were I don't remember how it came up, but social media came up. They're freshmen at Highlands College, so they're all 17, 18. One of them was a 2006 baby, so that's
16.
That's 16.
That is not 16. That is not 16. That's 18 years old.
Oh yeah. I did backwards math.
Hey, that's okay.
Yeah, no, so it actually doesn't make any sense. They were all freshmen, and there was a 2006, 2005, and 2004. Those 18, 19, and 20 years old. So I guess one of them was 20 and a freshman. But anyways, they were really cool, kids. One of the girls' name was Vivian. She's from Osaka, Japan.
That's sick.
Yeah, but anyways, I was talking to them, and I just remember whenever I was a big part of that church whenever I was in high school, celebrity Christianity, and just the very, very simple idea that you could practice Christianity or you didn't have to be super weird in order to be a Christian. That was the first people that I interacted with that were serious about their faith, that were outspoken about their faith, and then also seemingly pretty cool people. anyways, I was talking to them about that, and then I was like, is celebrity Christianity still a thing? Because to be completely honest with you, celebrity Christianity kind of disgusts me now. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's like the biggest it's ever been because like social media is the biggest it's ever been and whatever. And I don't know. I just feel like the avenues and the worlds that I like operate in, social media seems like it's like everyone's getting like tired of it. And it was really nice to have a conversation with you the other day, Jake, and then also with these kids from Highlands College who are definitely more like typical TikTok, like, you know, chronically online vibe kids than the typical like person that I interact with, I guess. But it was really refreshing talking to them. And one of the like differences that we made was in their journey, like they were, you know, you think about the cognitive experience and like you have that whole thing about how, what is like your thing of like your journey of like independence or something like that, Myers? It's like a Jordan Peterson thing. Talks about how,
like developing personal responsibility and vision for yourself.
yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they experienced that whole arc of their life. Like they didn't know who they were on social media. They grew to understand who they were, or as they've grown, like social media has been there the whole way.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I feel like I remember a time in my life where I came to understand myself, like later high school, where I came like to peace with my story and my destiny, my journey, whatever you want to call it. And then I kind of rode that. And then I developed like this horrible relationship with social media. And it was particularly evident to me when Instagram Reels and TikTok became like joined the platform.
Yeah.
Because Instagram and TikTok became uniquely addicting. And that kind of led me down like I said, like a uniquely, like a, I guess evidently. And it was like felt in a way that was like, I was like, oh, this is like not cool. But for me, that was like, that's just the timeline that I've been on. You know, I didn't get addicted to Instagram or TikTok until probably like my first year post grad. Cause that's whenever I was talking about this with Jake. No, I was talking about this with a guy named Cole that I met. That was a UAB student the other day, about how whenever I was growing up, like, there was a app called Triller
like Vine.
Yeah, it was like Triller, and
we were talking about a Triller sound in class the other day.
Really, yeah.
It was like I'm friends with the It was like Monster.
It's like
anyway,
but well, I guess to a certain extent, like people that were your age, whenever I was in like college, were doing it. But I was like Triller and Musically were where 7-year-olds went on to lip sync.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like a funny thing. And we all loved Vine whenever I was in high school and stuff, but then Vine died and everybody kind of like had this love for Vine. And then my senior year specifically, that's whenever TikTok became Vine. And then it kind of just like still is that. And then there's like people that became kind of like personalities in it, and like with Charlie D'Amelio and Dixie D'Amelio and, you know, Matt Addison Ray, all those people. Anyways, all this to say, I feel like it's it was just kind of like super weird that didn't happen for me until senior year, where I grew this like terrible relationship with it. So I think in a way there might be like this weird hope and like, or maybe just like a desire that I want things to go back to the way they were before, that is like unique to me because I'm just like older. And it's been really refreshing to hear from you, and then also like these other kids from Highlands College who sat there and actually chatted with me for a little bit in a public space. So I thought it was, I feel like my conversations about this have been really cool this past week, trying to consider and think about, you know, what is wrong and right here, because you're honestly the first person in a while, Jake, that like has hope for actually being able to learn how to use it well. Like I haven't heard somebody think, like I haven't heard someone believe that you can use it well in a long time. So hear me, like, let's talk about that. Let's go there. Like, how do you do it well?
Can I ask you a question first?
For sure.
You had mentioned like Vine and Triller and stuff like that being around, which was all relatively short clips. And one thing that I've been thinking about lately since our conversation is like, you're saying that addiction didn't develop until Instagram Reels and TikTok, even though there was a lot of short videos, arguably better short videos, like more quality short videos out there during like Vine and stuff like that. And you were less addicted then, and one thing that's been on my mind is with just the like age thing is I think it's more of like where your like heart and your time is at before you are consuming social media, because I think it's like there's probably, I mean, every year it's like less and less people come to know Jesus, I feel like. And I think it's like, if your heart is like with Jesus, that's just like stuff you're consuming, like will feel wrong if you're not consuming the right stuff. So I just think it's weird to think about. I don't know if like Myers, if you like have anything to say about like, has social media been worse for you of recent, or is it like, was like YouTube and Vine and Triller and all that when that was really mainstream, was that harder? Because like, I don't know. I think it's just interesting. I don't know.
I really loved like Instagram for pretty much all of like college for me. Some of late high school for me was more like I treated it like it was like my art portfolio because I'm a photographer. And so I enjoyed the process of like curating my grid. And I know at that time I definitely had like struggles with it. Like maybe putting too much of my like personal value in that or something like that.
For
But
sure.
I think I'm definitely more on the page with Steven of like, now I get on Instagram and mostly I just scroll through shorts or reels or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is not good for me
For sure.
because I'm just filling my brain with like junk.
No, I agree. I agree.
So I think it was better when the emphasis was more on contributing and creating.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a cool framework. Like, is your goal consumption or contribution?
Yeah.
When you get on there,
Yeah.
which, to be fair, your like, I don't know, even like if you can, well, I guess if your heart's like contribution, but you're trying to offer good contribution, then you're being like countercultural in like what you're putting on that. Because a lot of the stuff on there, I would argue that the vast majority of stuff on there is very like not good. I don't really know a word for it, but
No, inappropriate.
yeah, inappropriate. Yeah,
TVMA.
I do agree with your take that whether it's good or not, it's almost like a necessary evil.
For sure.
Which it's maybe not necessarily evil, but just that kind of perspective, like it's here to stay whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of my perspective on like AI and cryptocurrency stuff is like, well, if I can understand someone who's 65 and about to retire being like, I'm just not into this and I'm not going to spend time learning how to do this because I'm going to retire in 3 years. Like I get that. But as a young person, I'm like, well, this is the future whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
And so I need to learn how to have an educated understanding of it and also a healthy relationship with it and figure out how to use it to my advantage, you know? Because, again, like, AI is not going anywhere. I mean, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's a good thing or not, it's here. And I think it's the same thing with social media. It's here. So you might as well try and use it to your advantage. And that doesn't mean like take advantage of people using it. It just means figure out how to use it in a healthy way that it makes your life better, not worse.
yeah.
And that also like in turn makes the life of the life of your like family one day better. Like it's like, even if in your little niche circles you can get some people to rely on personal connection more, it's like your kids might not always be in the bubble of the vicinity that you're in, or your friends' kids aren't going to always be in the bubble of the vicinity that you're in. So it's like we need to really be educating like, yes, kids that are coming up, but also like people like in college right now and y'all like not far post-grad, like that will make a change in their like in the generation like after us. And then what was your question? You had one for me.
Well, the next thing I was going to ask you kind of the same thing, but I mean, you literally go to a Christian school, and Christians typically are trying to be helpful to the world, especially regarding the mental health epidemic. And anyway, so like, what is your conversations like this? What are your conversations about this like in class? Like because Birnbaum studies journalism, mass communication. Like he studies like the production and output of media. So is there like a fight against the machine in terms of like the negativity, like fight against the negativity vibe with y'all, or what's that like?
It's actually interesting. We just have a lot of like media ethics type conversations and kind of navigating like what is like how to maintain ethics, especially as a Christian, and still do anything media related, like posting and contributing to media in a creative platform, because that just gets really complicated. And we were talking about in class, I don't know if you all saw this, but Sabrina Carpenter filmed her music video for a song called Feather in a Catholic church. And then the guy who let her film in the Catholic church got fired, and basically like a lot of like PR stuff is like blown up about it. Like, would you have let them do this? Like, how would you have reacted if you were someone that's just like on the outside? How would you react? And I just think it's a constant like heat around like do something or not do something, and I think it's impossible to just totally go away with something. So I think more of the conversation is like, how do you I like the contribution framework. Like, how do you healthily contribute while still maintaining morals and ethics? Because it's like, it's a fact. And Matt Francisco was talking about it, that like the algorithm is to get you like addicted. It's to get your attention.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you recognize that, I mean, we hear it every day, but we don't think about it. I mean, it's like when we have free time, like too much free time, there's nothing else on our feed that we want to interact with or watch that's of actual interest. We go to like the search bar, or we go to Reels, and we're just searching for something to give us entertainment. And if we can kind of break out of that mindset, more of I think like free time is what also needs to be addressed, of like your fun time needs to be like with people or bettering yourself, and social media doesn't do that. Now, I don't think that like, I kind of argue for if you're working or taking a test, going and spending 15 minutes watching a YouTube video, then going back to whatever you're doing is a great healthy break. But when it's like you scroll for 2 hours before bed, that's where it gets like super, super unhealthy.
Sure.
Because I think like when, at least for me, when I'm busier, I just naturally consume less media. And I think dead time leads to the like dangerous levels of scrolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was talking about this a lot this week too. The idea, I think this is from The Body Keeps a Score. I don't remember who said this, but is it like neurons that fire together, wire together? Or I think that's what it is. It's this whole idea of, when you consume media at unhealthy times of the day, like quite literally, my counselor talks about this. When you open up, like when you wake up, if you wake up and then immediately start getting on Instagram, the neurons that like fire to wake you up in the morning are the same neurons that fire during anxiety. And I think I'm underneath the belief that like emotions were made, like the God made emotions, and then like in humans, like sinfulness and just like in people have twisted anxiety into being something that's like really dangerous, and but at its very core, it can be helpful. Anxiety can be helpful. Like specifically, it's what wakes you up in the morning. It's the same thing. I can't remember the name of the chemical that it is, but when your brain fires off that chemical or lets out that chemical, whatever it is, and then you immediately like roll over and you start scrolling, like those two neurons are firing together. Like your dopamine, like, scrolling, whatever is firing off during that, like attention entertainment thing, is firing with like anxiety, wake up, stress, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
and
like,
I feel like in a very simple way that I feel like that gives clarity. Whereas if you have a good morning routine, to talk more about what you were saying, like not necessarily about the don't do social media, but also like what are we telling them to do instead? I think that if, like, just simply put, like when your alarm goes off, get out of bed and go have like a good morning. Like go make a cup of coffee. Like go sit down. Go like read something helpful. Like form yourself into something good.
Yeah. I was gonna say, stress is another example of like stress in itself is not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Feeling stressed all of the time probably means there's something wrong, but oftentimes stress is there to help you complete something that's urgent, or like, if you're stressed out while working at the gym or something, like that's because you're putting your body under a lot of stress. Like there are different times where stress is good and appropriate, and similar for anxiety. But yeah, when you tie it to the wrong kind of actions or dwell on it, or do things to encourage more of it, it's not always good.
I think like when you're anxious, like I think the feeling of being anxious before something important is coming up is like a good thing. Like anytime someone comes to me and it's like, wow, I'm anxious about this decision, it's like that means you care. And like, that shows a lot about you as a person. And I think that with anxiety, I think it's when you start associating the like anxious feelings to like the quality or like the identity of the person that you are. I think that's when it turns into this negative, like darker kind of sadness thing. Because I feel like people are like anxious because it's like, oh, I don't know what people are going to think about me, or I don't know like how to feel about this like new thing in my life. It's more like, it's less people being like, wow, I'm so anxious about this test tomorrow. Like that's fine. That's because you want to do good on the test. Like you want to perform, which isn't a bad thing.
Birnbaum, how do you spend time on social media?
Good question. But what I was talking to you about the morning routine. No.
Every time we keep asking this.
Stop. No, but I wanted to add, but I didn't want to interrupt my
Sure.
I think with the morning routine thing and kind of how I spend social media, and I haven't been as good about it, like just being back in college, but with the morning routine, like when I was struggling listening to like too much of a certain kind of music, it would be like, okay, I can only listen to non-worship music from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. or something like that. And I kind of feel that way about media, that like if you're opening media first thing in the morning or you're opening media right before you go to bed, I think that's negative. And one thing I always encourage like college people to do is to like just talk to your roommate. Like so many people get to live like with someone, and it's like go enjoy that conversation and talking about your day or talking about what's going to happen in your day more than like consuming media. And I think some of those conversations can be some of the most like fruitful, silly ones, which is just as entertaining as media. And the way I consume media, I mean, I have a 20-minute limit on all of the social media apps on my phone. So I usually try to spend probably like 2 or 3 hours a day on my phone, just like screen time wise. And I think sometimes that gets like worse than others, and sometimes can get like screen time itself can get relatively skewed because there is like productive screen time that's like, hey, I have to respond to this email. I'm talking on the phone with my mom, like things like that. But the main ways I do, like I watch TikTok and I watch Instagram Reels. But I think it's one of those things that I am doing that to like receive like quick joy or to laugh or like to stay up to date with what's going on more than like this is getting in the way of anything that's happening. Like I think social media is towards the bottom of my priority list. Like if I could choose to go be with someone, if I could choose sleep, if I could choose like doing something productive, I'm going to do that before social media. But if like there is a time I do, like I love YouTube and I love Instagram, and I think there's a lot of joy and just like natural dopamine that you get from that. So I think I mainly consume media like on YouTube. Like I love watching YouTube, and I love listening to music and stuff like that. I think I like YouTube more than Instagram. And I think where Instagram Reels and TikTok get really unhealthy is you're not really choosing who you're following sometimes. You're just following the content.
Yeah.
And so, like, when it's YouTube, at least for me, I've subscribed to however many people on YouTube, and I have my notifications on for them. So it's like with YouTube, I can see when someone I like posts, and I can do that. But when it's and like click on their video, and I know it's not going to be something that's of negative, like, I guess, message.
Yeah.
But then it's like with Instagram Reels, you just keep scrolling, and you're like just waiting till you find something funny or something that like relatable or something informative. Because there's no like sense of like looking for something or wanting to learn about something or wanting to watch something for entertainment.
Yeah, that is one of the funny things about like when TikTok came around and when Reels came around is following someone changed because people don't follow people like they used to anymore. Because if you get on your Explore feed, it's like probably no one you follow is going to show up on your Explore feed. So your feed of people you follow is different from your Explore feed, is different from your Reels feed.
For sure. And I think that's one thing that can be addressed. Like if people are really struggling, like don't go on your For You page or don't go on your Instagram Reels. And if you're going to scroll on your main page.
Yeah. I used to never use Explore page.
That's what I'm saying.
I only scroll through my feed.
I literally, I might know who that person is. I'm going to hit search and look them up. But other than that, it was like you don't go on it. But I think that is one thing that's harmful is you're not like knowing who you're following, and there's not a sense of like following someone for a long time to know the kind of content, or like I guess letting social media like shape your habits more than like having a habit that social media makes better.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy, like, since I love playing golf, like for example, Steven, like I love watching like a Rick Shields golf video because that makes me love golf even more. Yeah. But I didn't love golf because of the YouTube that I watched.
Yeah.
I loved golf because I got to play it with my dad during COVID.
Yeah.
And like,
it is really cool, those kinds of things. Like, me and Myers are training for this race right now, and Clayton Young, the U.S. Olympian marathon guy, has this series that he put out for the Olympic marathon, and then now he just finished his 4-episode series of the New York City Marathon. Casey Neistat came out with a video about how he ran the New York City Marathon. All these people are talking about like how they are interacting with doing hard things in their life. And I have found it so fascinating hearing all these people who have all different types of belief systems, but everyone kind of uniquely agrees that like training for a marathon is wildly difficult, almost impossible. Everyone hates it, but everyone's like, you should totally do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so cool. But in terms of like YouTube specifically, I feel like it helps me with my like doing, like getting off the couch to go do something that I actually want to do that's so hard to actually do is like such an invigorating feeling that I just don't think I don't think that people before us had something. I mean, other than just like maybe a one-on-one, just like random inspirational conversation. Another thing that I was thinking about too is like also because of tech, I know how to track my mileage when I'm running.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
How the heck did people track? Like,
they didn't.
Like when we run on Monday mornings, like how would we know how far we went?
That was something we were talking about the other day after a run. Is my grandfather was a runner in like the 70s, 80s, and I genuinely have no idea how he kept track of his miles. Because like,
were you this trailhead?
Yeah, I guess
that's. I mean, it's like you don't look. I mean, well, I take that. I mean, you can sometimes, but I'm not going to like for a run or a walk on Jemison and be like, 0.4.
Yeah,
I'm looking at my watch. I'm looking at my phone.
Yeah,
and so
honestly, on Lakeshore, there's so many freaking signs, and I feel like all of them disagree with one another. You'll be running and it'll be like 0.4, and then like 2 minutes later, you'll pass a sign that's like 0.25, and then you'll pass another one like 2 minutes later, and it'll be like 1 mile, and it's like. You know what I'm talking about? Like the spray paint on the bottom, like on the road, and then also like the signs. And there's also like little like boulder things.
It's more complicated.
It's like super confusing.
I like what you're saying, Steven. I think one of the good things about social media for me has been it's opened up my horizon to like what's possible in the world.
For sure.
So like being into cars, for example, and growing up in Mississippi, no access to anything cooler than a Corvette or something like that.
Sure.
And because of social media, I learned about Bugattis and Paganis and Lamborghinis,
Isuzu
and
Troopers.
and Isuzu Troopers, and all this stuff. And that's most of what my feed and everything on social media is cars.
Sure.
And so it's opened up my world to cars. It's also opened my world to like, it is possible to like not just sit at a desk and like be an accountant all day every day. Like there's so many things you can do in the world to make money and to contribute to society and be a benefit way beyond anything that's just whatever I saw in small town Mississippi growing up or whatever.
I think that's again why I think just guarding like childhood and even into like definitely into early teenage years is super important when it comes to social media, because like you said, you liked cars before social media, and social media made you have more access to cars and information about cars. So I think it's making sure that people develop interests and develop their personality before interacting with social media. Because then like what you're seeking after. Like for example, you with like being like, I'm gonna get off the couch and do this hard things because it's a really cool video that I got to just watch. Like that's good because you can find things on social media that help your habits either be more I'm trying to think of the word, efficient, or more fun, or like I love like the feeling of like, wow, I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to look at the trails on hikes.com, or I'm going to look at a YouTube video of this hotel, and I'm going to get really excited because now I have this imagery in my head of where I'm about to go and what I'm about to do, so then I can be more ready to do that. Yeah,
that's really good too, because I think sometimes we talk about like the flattening of society, where like the internet makes everyone kind of the same. I think when you develop yourself outside of social media, like you're talking about, and then take that developed self, however far along you get, to social media, that is what fights against that idea that like everyone becomes the same. I think
for sure. And I think that also allows you to have like less of a comparison when it comes to social media, that like, and I mean, that's a totally different conversation, but when you're talking about like art and all that and using it as that, like that can get into the like comparison game. But if you're just enjoying habits, like I know squat about cars, so I'm not gonna be upset if the content that you're posting or interacting with is cars, and like I'm not gonna compare myself to that. But when I like habitual in a good way, social media is good because there's people that are always more knowledgeable than you are, and that allows for more just information. So
guys, can we do a segment sponsored by Elliott Coffee? Awesome. Cool. Guys, welcome to today's Reddit scroll. That's what I'm going to call it. We do this on our podcast all the time, so I'll just go ahead and do it. But this Reddit thread is, what exactly is bad about social media? And again, it's sponsored by Cafe Elliott, which is
thanks, Elijah.
It's a cafe in Dayton, Kentucky, right outside of Cincinnati. That celebrates. Yeah, thanks for the lamp. It celebrates ordinary days. You should go give it a check out.
That was the shirt Steven was wearing before he put on his Peacock Insurance hoodie. Our other sponsor.
So is Cafe Elliott just trying to steal the like create good days vibe from Kala? With the create ordinary days or whatever.
Yes, they stole that straight from Kala.
I think Kala saying celebrate good days is very different. Create good days is very different than celebrating ordinary days. Creating good days means that you're after not the ordinary, not the mundane. Celebrating ordinary days says, hey, goodness is all around us all the time. Okay, you don't have to create this.
I think this is, again, away from your question. I keep doing this. I'm bad. I'm so bad. But I feel like it's hard with social media to like create something that's entirely unique. It's like I feel like everything has been done.
Everything.
Like you think of something and you're like, oh my gosh,
It's super interesting how people. I had this realization the other day because a lot of people say that to us about podcasts. That, you know, we'll be like, oh, we have a podcast, and then people literally respond with like, well, doesn't everybody nowadays? But it's also like everyone always forever has been accountants. There's millions of accountants. But if I were to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to study accounting, you'd be like, Oh, sick. That's awesome. But for whatever reason, because we're doing something that's like entertainment based, people are like, oh, like freaking it. I don't know. It's just like, it's super weird how people have qualms specifically with people like putting more media out there when it's like the world doesn't need another broker at Regions Bank. But like you want to get that job. I don't know. I feel like everything all like under the sun, nothing under the sun is new.
Yep.
Like people said that thousands of years ago. So
It's true.
yeah. Anyways, here's one from Gracie Marie 42 on the Reddit thread. What exactly is bad about social media? She says, for me, it boils down to the way social media platforms are literally designed to act the same as drugs. They might feel good in the moment, but the come down and ancillary effects from using are often hell.
Wow.
Interesting.
Great take, Gracie Murray 42.
Here is, it was my shadow is this person's username. He or she says, it always comes back to the usage. Social media is a tool that allows us to connect in convenient ways, but it can be abused like anything else. Go out for a few drinks with your friends, can have a good time, potentially relieve stress after a hard day of work, build social connections. Now, what if you do this every day? What if you drink yourself to sleep every night? Obviously, that's not good for your long-term health. The same goes with your individuals that find themselves spending 8 to 10 hours a day on social media. I think the conversation has to shift to how we can have healthy mindsets and relationships with our use of social media, not just defaulting to, quote, evil empire, all is bad, end quote, mentality.
Yeah.
I really like that. I mean,
what we're talking about. Yeah.
That's exactly. We talked about that the other day. That it's like you didn't know that cigarettes were bad, and everyone was smoking packs a day for a long time, even though they knew it was bad. It still took them time to like get over it, to change the like mindset behind that. So I think that's just what it is, and that's what it boils down to. Is like, with the broken world that we live in, we have a usage and abuse issue with whatever it is. Like, we abuse good things and we abuse bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, for example, like alcohol is a good example. It's like Jesus made that as a gift. Like the Lord made that as a gift. Like, wine is awesome.
Yeah.
But like that's not meant to be chugged in just chugged.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I agree with you. I was essentially just gonna be like, and then repeat with another metaphor that's the same exact thing. So I'm just gonna move on to the next
sin is just
one.
a perversion of good things.
But this person's whose name I think is Gamine Fatale, she says, I think you're onto something when you ask what social media is replacing. 20 minutes on social media a day, posting a few pictures of your dog and looking at other people's dogs? Cool. But when social media is designed to make you use it for hours every day, those are hours that could be spent doing other more fulfilling things. And once you neglect those fulfilling things for long enough, it feels harder to try to come back to them. I think that's super true. I think that in terms of like, if you like, I feel like that kind of falls in line with the contribution consumption framework. Because it's like, okay, if you're going on there and you're feeling stoked about, whatever, like me and Myers with running right now. And then also, we could be making content about running right now and helping our community get more into like seeing the beauties of running. But we're not doing that. I feel like I'm just consuming. It is helping me contribute in my real life. But in terms of social media, I don't put anything out there because I feel like people are like really, really harsh judges. So I don't know. I feel like that's super interesting. What do y'all think about that in terms of like, are you just getting on there to post like this is like post pictures of your dog, see other pictures of dogs? Like in the same way, it's like, you're getting on there to see what was the example that you gave? Oh, golf. Like I feel like that was something really cool that we had going with Breakfast Club. We also had someone who's really good at media with Griffin whenever he was here. So Griffin doesn't live here anymore. He was the guy who did these golf videos that Birnbaum and I were in last year. Because we golfed a lot last year. I'm not golfing as much these days, but it was like really cool being able to make content to get other people excited about going to spend time with their friends, which is kind of what we're doing with word of mouth. We're trying to get people to enjoy the idea of like chatting about, these things in real life.
Yep.
I think when it encourages community, that's a good thing. Like I think when media encourages community and not isolation.
Dude, that's a good word. When like that's actually really good. Is it encouraging isolation or is it encouraging community? And then also, are you contributing or
Well, and I think that's what makes a good content like creator is, I think, even on like a very small scale with something like Breakfast Club, or like, for example, you said everyone has a podcast. Everyone has a podcast. It's like, I feel like the people that make a podcast together probably are better friends. Like, you and Myers are best friends in the entire world, and I'm sure on these random episodes, like sitting, hanging out and talking to people, you've learned random things about each other.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's healthy when media like encourages boldness and encourages community. But there is a lot of media that's like isolating and dark and is like, you should feel sad, you should feel this, you should watch this video. More like, hey, you should go and do this activity, and I now have the opportunity to show you why this activity is awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty good stuff right there.
That is pretty good stuff.
Well, there's today's segment of Reddit Scroll. So thank you so much for the original poster's name was Ace0V.
Thanks, Ace.
So thank you, OP, for that one. That's a
Another
Reddit slang I learned the other day. OP is the original post.
Yeah. Well, another thing I like about podcasts is that they're really hard to grow. So it makes me feel like I'm doing something difficult.
You're working towards a goal that's just really
whenever we started this thing, the thing that got me so fired up was the fact that I could be like 40 years old and then my daughter or something like that would be like, wait, what is your dad doing in the other room? And then she's going to have to be like, oh, yeah, like him and his friend Myers do this podcast. They've been doing it for like 40 years.
Well, okay.
That gets me fired up. I don't know why.
I think about that, but I also think about how I love, like, how you love hearing about things, but you love seeing them and actually interacting with it more. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think I love anytime my, like, parents send like an old picture, or my dad will randomly play me like an old recording of like him and his buddies playing music that's like deep into YouTube, that it's like that's awesome. It's like, dude, dad, that's badass. Like that's what's cool, is it's like getting to like show your kids like, yeah, I did this hobby and I worked at this hobby and this gave me joy. Like it was fun and this is what I liked, and now you have this thing with your friends. Love that, cherish that.
I also change all the freaking time. Like, I think that my life is like a continual change. So I think it's cool too that, you know, in retrospect,
you're capturing
in 40 years from now, whenever I get to look back, I'm gonna be like, wow, you really didn't know anything. You know, it's gonna be fun.
It's like the idea of like, if you could watch all the memories that you and your friends made for how long, would you like watch it? Like, yes.
Did you know
I'd pay $1 million? Like,
what I heard the other day, I heard if your dad died today and he left you a bunch of notes, how often would you read it? ... Why don't you read your Bible that much?
Dude. That's wow. I actually was thinking about that the other day. This is so random, but I like read some of my graduation notes when I was home the other day. Oh my gosh. I mean, just
do y'all write notes
every time? Oh, I love notes.
Are you talking about currently or for graduation?
Do you like currently?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Gracie got me this like, what is it called? The freaking name for office paper?
Sticky note?
No, there's a name for it. It's not cutlery. It's like stationery. There it is.
Fork and spoons and knives.
Yeah, freaking Cutco ice cream scoopers. But anyways, stationery.
Should I sell Cutco this summer as a job? Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I'd be good at it anyway.
We should let a Cutco person come on. They for sure schedule with. But anyway, she got me stationery and it says from the studio of Stephen Oliver Peacock.
Wow.
Which is just insane.
See, that's awesome.
But anyways, so I have this like notes, and then I also have like Redeemer ones. But we write handwritten notes to people all the time at Redeemer.
I love handwritten notes because I think when you verbalize something to someone, like, yes, it might mean more, but it's less thought out.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when I write something down, I get everything out that's on my mind, and there's like nothing left to fester with. So I can almost like, not actually, but there is like an argument for written words being like just as purely like as pure as spoken sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah, and sometimes you're even more concise. And
Well, it's, yeah.
I mean, like, writing is, you have to process your thoughts in order to write.
Exactly.
And especially
Yeah.
if you go back and edit what you've written, like, that's why I think books are so amazing. Is
Unbelievable.
like, not all books, but most books are edited, and the best books are very, very, very concisely worded to be most impactful and have the most information packed into the least amount of words and be easiest to read and understand and yada, yada, yada. It's kind of a it's a skill, and not that many people have it. And
true.
I think when you write things out to people, I mean, for one, like, the written thing lasts. Like, you forget what people
Absolutely.
say, but you can always look back and see what someone wrote. And
Yeah, I heard one time, like, the habit or like the practice or the exercise of writing a note to someone is really good because you are completely being selfless in your thinking. Like, you are only thinking about the other person when you are writing.
I was going to hit on that. I think like the most selfless act you can do is like giving something that you really don't have. And like, even if you can't write, like writing someone a note and going out of your way to express those pure and concise feelings,
Yeah.
I think is such a good thing, because when it comes to like personal interactions that you like can't keep, it's like the people say, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like people like won't remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's like the words, like that stays, like that's
Yeah.
tangible feelings.
It's like toothpaste words. Once you squirt it out, can't put it back in.
toothpaste words.
Yeah.
That's another one I heard today.
Steven, were you like this is totally changing the gears from writing. You go to like, when you were a kid, you go
Okay.
like the dentist. Are you like a double mint guy? Or were you freaky?
I'm going to be so honest. I think because all toothpaste is mint flavored, like that you use at your actual house.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And so whenever I would go to the dentist, they would be like raspberry, bubble gum, blah, blah, blah. And I would always do non-mint because I was just like, ooh, something else. And every time I would do something else, I would deeply regret it. So now I'm just like, I don't freaking care. Just do the most normal kind. I hate the dentist, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
I like the doctor. I hate the dentist.
I think I get excited about everything in life except like the dentist and death.
Oh yeah.
Like
Like the dentist is something truly like I feel like that's such like a I hate freaking Brussels sprouts, but like it's the same.
I like Brussels
feel like-
sprouts.
Well, I know I do too. But
I do too.
I was trying to think of what are those white broccoli things called?
Cauliflower.
I hate cauliflower. That's what I meant to say. Like nobody likes cauliflower.
I like cauliflower.
Yeah, well, freaking nobody does.
It's just not true, I don't think.
I used to get bubble gum.
Well,
Bubble gum toothpaste.
I feel like
gets
you
it.
can know someone by like the flavor they get.
did y'all have a little toy that y'all got?
Oh,
Going to the dentist when you
well,
were a kid?
the way we did it is it would like be, you would get like the kid dentist. I go to the adult dentist now. I transferred
Yeah.
over. It kind
Ugh.
of sucks. But when I was a kid, you would
Adults
like,
want toys.
you'd
Still.
get your teeth cleaned, and then the like main guy would come and like check it out. And,
Yeah.
like, pry with the metal.
Mine was a girl.
There you go. But you would get like coins, and you could put them in the little
Oh,
machine, and it'd be
yeah.
like.
Yep, me too.
That
Me too.
feels
Oh,
But I think
I
like,
gotta say, man, child,
struck a chord.
like care centers, if it's a dentist or a doctor or whatever it is, are so much better than adult ones.
It's crazy.
adult clinic-
unbelievable.
The adult clinic, they're like, I mean, yeah, you're probably fine. Like, yeah, you could just kind of like, yeah, these numbers are lower than last time, but, you know, you're doing better than, you know, grandpa over here, so just move on.
Okay, like why is that? I feel like
Yeah, when I was a
want
kid,
a toy.
yeah, when I was a kid, it was like, well, your numbers are slightly different here, and so we're gonna change this, that, and the other because we want to make sure they stay up here, and then we're gonna give you a toy, and like, you know, here's a cool T-shirt.
They knew
and
the
like,
answer.
Like, what if it was like an adult like there was an adult toy at the doctor. That sounds weird.
What if there's an adult toy at the doctor?
No, but you know what I mean? It's like,
What would
wow.
it be? What
What-
would
well,
what
A
what can
freaking
you?
Instagram reels?
Hey,
No.
can I bum a scroll?
no, I'm thinking it's like that same like beautiful feeling that you get from like putting a coin in and twisting it, or like turning in an assignment and you get the like confetti, or
Oh,
like just that beautiful rush.
oh yeah.
What would give you that? Like if it was like, oh, here's 4 golf balls, or like here's like a thing like barbecue seasoning.
I
or,
feel like
Mm.
everyone could take a $5 Starbucks gift card.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like let me turn it, and I'm not gonna know if I'm gonna get like Walmart, Amazon,
Yeah.
or like a really niche restaurant like a Ruby Tuesday, or like
Yeah.
something like a weird like mystery gift card would be
A
awesome.
gift card to either Ruby Tuesday or Cheesecake Factory or Outback or Longhorn or
Chili's. Oh,
Yeah,
man, we went to
that's
Chili's the
good
other day.
stuff,
Not
man.
good.
Hey, well, we've been talking for quite a while here, guys.
Quite a while.
That went by fast.
Yeah, that was
I
was
got,
really,
I got into flow state with that one.
yeah, I definitely got into flow state.
That was good. Thank you, Birnbaum.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I
Thank
thought
you
it
guys
was-
for having me.
I thought it was
I-
super fun.
I destroyed the order sometimes, but it was
No, you,
super fun getting to experience the world of media and doctors' offices with y'all.
I appreciate you asking us questions.
Hey, I almost like that more than talking. I'm not a talking about myself guy.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what Jake Birnbaum. Oh, sorry. Go.
I was gonna say I have a little takeaway for our. I have some homework for our guests,
Do
or
it.
not our guests
Our
too, but
listeners.
also our listeners. Here's an acronym for you: Forks. When you're talking to someone new and you don't know what to talk about, here's an acronym for you: Forks. Family, occupation, recreation, knowledge, spirituality. Those 5 things. People love
good
talking
one.
about those 5
Period.
things. Family, occupation, recreation, knowledge, spirituality.
There are no other things to talk about.
Happy
Yep.
warm winter.
Happy warm winter. Thank you. Have a wonderful warm winter.
What a wonderful winter wonderland.
All right, cheerio then. Happy
Bye.
holidays. Welcome to the second segment of the podcast.
Psych.
I'm not gonna lie. Alice Phoebe Lou is playing right now, and I genuinely think she's the best live show I've ever seen in my life.
That's unreal.
She was so good.
Birnbaum, who's your favorite artist
Wow. Like
right now?
of all
Ever.
right now, it's probably. I've been listening to a lot of Hippocampus.
Yep. Classic.
New one? The new album?
Yeah, I've been listening to the new album, but I've kind of gone back to the Landmark. That album,
Yep.
I think is unbelievable. And I also I've been doing a lot of design at school, and I think that album cover, like the vinyl itself, is one of the prettiest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Landmark's kind of amazing.
It is kind of amazing, but I kind of vary on my music. Like it can go anywhere. Like it's just you can get.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's you get Hippocampus, you get random old stuff that I've been listening to a lot of Elton John. It's where do where do Hippocampus and Elton John connect?
They don't.
They don't. It's I don't know. So it's that's the beauty of music. So
I think whenever I was in college, there was this one YouTube video. I would actually love to see how many times I watched it, but Hippocampus played a show at Bonnaroo or something like that. And one thing that Hippocampus does at their live shows that they don't do on this album is they build Way It Goes at the very end,
yeah,
and then they just freaking jam at the end of it and go nuts. Whereas in this, it kind of builds and it just calmly dies to go into the next song, because that's how Hippocampus is. They definitely fade in between songs and stuff.
for sure.
Anyways, I have watched that video so many times in my life.
I will say, I think that that is a beauty of music. The fact that we get to watch an NPR Tiny Desk or something on YouTube, I think that is amazing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite artists is the 1975.
Ooh.
Fire.
And one of the exciting things about every time they come out with a new album is the first song is always the self-titled the 1975 track, and they usually sing like the same chorus verse piece, but then they write it in a completely different way every time they create a new album.
Yeah.
So it was always like when there's a new album, it was such a thrill turning on the first track and seeing like what they did with it. Like the third album, I think it was, they did like a gospel choir version, and it was like so
It's
sick.
so good. I love the 1975 a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they might be like one of the records that were like, yeah, or one of the artists that's like, yeah, they were kind of it.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is the gospel one? You said their third album?
Yeah. Do you guys?
It's not this one.
A Brief Inquiry into Online.
Okay, this is
Might
random.
be the most recent one.
Do y'all enjoy? I actually got in a conversation with people the other day, and it made me really upset. Do y'all enjoy live music if you don't know the artist?
For
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
For
And
sure.
people were talking to me the other day that they were like, no.
That's crazy.
And I was like, that's wild, because I would go see anyone. Like, I
Yeah.
legitimately think if anybody that I knew texted me and was like, hey, Jake, I got a ticket to this. Do you want to go? Yes, I do. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before. Like I went to see Bahamas with Austin Eck. This is what I was talking about.
Yeah. Dude, I think that the other day, going to the coin show, I have to talk about this. The coin show is unbelievably good. We haven't talked about that yet. After the show, after our episode last week with Northeaster Freeze. Was that last week?
It'd be
Yeah,
two
this
we-
would be
it's
2 weeks
2
ago.
weeks ago from this.
It was last week from today. Anyways, we went to the coin show and it was unbelievably
It was
good.
so good.
It was so much fun. But the opener was like pure TikTok boy.
It was so bad.
And
See, I hate that.
I would have never in a billion years, 1 billion years of silence. You could put me in a monastery for a billion years. And if you said, you can go hear one thing.
You can go
and
see
but it would be
Bennett
that. I'll be like,
Rowley.
I'd rather just keep it silent forever.
I don't care.
Well,
She
oh,
don't
he was
care.
so.
Okay, I will say though, this is interesting to think about from like a musical perspective. If you did like just release a song on Spotify that happened to catch wind on TikTok, and when you released it, you were like from this really pure musical intent, and then like you go and open for someone and they're like, yeah, TikTok boy, this guy sucked. But it's like he just might have actually cared about his art. It's like that sucks.
I think
man.
I think it really is. So like Dayglow became really big after one of his songs went big on TikTok.
I do like that.
And we love Dayglow.
Yeah.
This guy was like wife beater under the leather jacket, took the leather jacket off and was like, this is my guitarist. He's like, this is my guitarist, Andy. No, we have to do the thing.
Oh, yeah.
He took off his shirt.
Here, I'll be the guy in the crowd.
Yeah.
You be Aiden.
So I take off my jacket. And this is my guitarist, Andy. I love you too. And then he just went into this song that was
It was
like
literally
a
at that
TikTok
rate.
song.
He introduced his band and gave his guitarist maybe 0.5 seconds of glory before he immediately responded.
Yeah.
I love you too.
We love
to the crowd.
shifting glory back onto
I
ourselves.
love
Yeah.
it. Pile it on.
Love it. Gosh,
Guys, I
give
really
it-
hope that
give
you know,
it to me.
on this fine Black Friday that y'all are, this conversation about social media has just stirred your brain cells.
See,
I hope you're
what's
in
crazy
line
though-
at Best Buy to buy
Well,
a
no, no,
TV right
see,
now.
I hope you got a 90
no,
incher today.
No. Here's what you got to realize. People are going to watch this on Black Friday, not going Black Friday shopping because Cyber Monday is coming. Because we're addicted to our phones.
The real holiday is coming.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I hope that y'all just get super
I-
hyped
well-
for Amazon Black Friday
Well,
deals.
it is
all
so it's so
weekend.
much better.
I hope
I'm
y'all
gonna
get
an Awala.
literally. If you go on
Okay,
Amazon,
No, you can't say that because I genuinely stop. I thought about it the other. Every time I see an Awala, I go, "Oh, that's nice. I like that."
My
color."
water bottle is like on its last leg, and I do need to get.
Yeah,
I
mine
definitely
starts
think-
tasting like metal.
and I love it.
A lot of iron.
Anyway.
Hey guys, get excited for Cyber Monday. It'll be in 2 days. Goodbye. I love you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I thought that was a good episode, guys.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Deep talk.
Video organ.